After all this time, there's still an interest in an iconic car that made a big splash on the big screen 4 decades ago. My quick search of an online marketplace for buying and selling cars found just 6 listings nationwide for the 1981 DeLorean DMC. It's a rare car indeed, which makes this next story all the more remarkable. In our Sunday morning spotlight, Bryant McRae shares a back-in-time discovery in Waukesha County that will eventually bring a DeLorean back to the future.
That's good, I think. Got plenty of room back there.
By now, its shape and story are iconic. The DeLorean Motor Company's classic gold-wing sedan is instantly recognizable. The car a cultural oddity at the time.
Beautifully crafted for long life, the DeLorean is one of the most awaited automobiles in automotive history.
Might have been forgotten altogether if not for a big-time, big-screen debut.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
Back to the Future, 1985's monster hit, directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, turned what was a joke into something entirely different.
The phrase back in the 80s was, "This was America's most talked about car." Are we seeing that being revived again?
Yeah, well, this is America's most talked about DeLorean, no doubt.
Now, more than 40 years later after the car's famous debut, mechanics Michael McElhatton and Kevin Thomas are looking to bring this beast back to the future.
We'll take a quick peek at the plugs and put it all back together and see if this thing lights up.
The two hunters of DeLoreans were made aware earlier this year this piece of Americana was just sitting in a Waukesha County barn, untouched and undriven.
So it can be fixed.
And they found more than they bargained for.
Yes, it was dirty. Yes, there had been mice in it, but the story was so good with this car that we had to buy it and bring it back here.
So McElhatton and Thomas got to work. The men moving around the inner workings of the car, like doctors carefully operating on a patient, because this machine, well, it's special.
We believe it's been roughly 17, 18 years since this engine has run.
The burn find, as they call it, only had 977 miles on it, and only owned by one man.
He divulged to me that, he bought this as kind of an investment, and he intentionally kept the miles down on the car.
An investment which has gotten the whole world talking yet again.
I've sent releases for photos and videos to Germany, Norway. I was interviewed by the BBC of Northern Ireland where these things were built. The story has gone international. This car's got a personality of its own at this point.
We found a family connection which sold the car to its first owner. And boy, it was a blast from the past.
He started the car up and acorns flew out of the vents and the mice were getting after it and he had some words like, "This thing's gotta go." So that was the last time I saw it.
This is Charlie Hall, the son of the original car dealership owner where the hidden DeLorean came from. And while Hall thought he said his goodbyes to the stainless steel machine in the 80s, the power of social media brought it back to his memories.
So when I saw DMC 12 barn find, oh my gosh, this has gotta be it.
Hall still holding on to the original bill of sale, showing the car sold for less than $26,000 back in the 80s. And after some work, McElhatton and Thomas are hopeful to increase the value of this DeLorean to more than $100,000.
Great Scott.
I know, this is heavy.
To have this kind of excitement around the car again is really kind of cool.
So after sitting in a barn for nearly 40 years, the question stands, can McElhatton and Thomas get it to run again?
I'll give it a couple of sprays and then go ahead and crank her over. Go ahead. Nothing?
Maybe we need something with a little more kick, according to Doc.
But I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity I need.
Fresh out of the 1.21 gigawatts, McElhatton had an idea a bit more new age.
Brass hammer time, I guess.
And after a few bangs, life slowly began to creep back into the beast.
Oh no. Keep cranking. And we have liftoff. That's what we're looking for, guys. A nice quiet motor. The exhaust isn't even ticking. The valve train's quiet. I don't hear any lower end noise. She's just purring right along like she never skipped a beat. All right. Awesome. We did it. We did it. That's what we wanted to see.
The two men found success in a car that's withstood the test of time.
It's very cool to bring one back to life that's been, forgotten and off the road for years. And when you light up the heart of the beast like we did tonight, that's kind of the coolest part about it.
It's hard to say what's in the next bar. Another one could pop up next week, or it could be 10 years before we find anything like this again, or maybe never. And that's what makes it special.